The ancient warning beacon floated in the darkness between galaxies, its alien symbols pulsing with a dim red light that had burned for 10,000 years. Ambassador Thek pressed his scaled hand against the viewing window of his transport ship and watched the beacon grow larger as they approached. Behind him, other delegates from across the known universe shuffled nervously in their seats. "Still gives me chills," muttered Commander Rex from the Andromedan Survey Corps. His blue skin had turned a pale shade of green, which always happened when he felt afraid. "My grandfather's grandfather used to tell stories about what happened. To the first ships that went in there." Thek nodded slowly. Every species in the Greater Galactic Council knew the stories. 3 massive fleets had ventured into the spiral galaxy beyond the beacon. None had ever returned. The few emergency signals they managed to send back spoke of impossible energies, reality-bending forces, and something the survivors called harbingers, before their transmissions cut to silence forever. The transport ship docked with Centaurus Prime, the massive space station that served as the Council's meeting place. As Thek walked through the corridors, he noticed how crowded they were today. Representatives from 47 different species had come to hear the emergency report. Word had spread that something had changed in the Forbidden Galaxy. The Council chamber was a vast circular room with floating platforms for each species. Some delegates needed water to breathe, others required specific gas mixtures, and a few existed as pure energy. The chamber's technology allowed them all to communicate despite these differences. At the center, a massive holographic display showed the spiral galaxy they all feared, rotating slowly in 3 dimensions. "Fellow beings," Thek began, as he took his position at the Rigelian platform. "We face a situation that has not occurred in our recorded history. The galaxy we have marked as forbidden for 10 millennia is showing new activity." The display zoomed in on the galaxy's outer edge. Red warning indicators blinked where the ancient beacon network had been established, but now several of those indicators had turned yellow and a few had gone completely dark. Commander Rex activated his platform's controls, and new data appeared on the display. "Long-range sensors have detected energy patterns we've never seen before. They're coming from deep within the galaxy, specifically from a system near one of the spiral arms. The patterns are organized, structured, almost like communications," finished Dr. Nix from the Crystal Worlds. Her crystalline body reflected the light from the display, creating rainbow patterns on the chamber walls. "Someone is broadcasting from inside the Forbidden Zone." A wave of shocked sounds filled the chamber. Some delegates made clicking noises. Others hummed in distress, and a few began rapid conversations in their native languages. The idea that something was alive inside the Forbidden Galaxy terrified them all. War Marshal Kane from the Vega Supremacy rose from his platform. His species looked like walking metal, with bodies made of a natural alloy that could withstand extreme conditions. "If there are survivors in there, we need to know what they've learned about the Harbingers. This could be our chance to finally understand what destroyed our ancestors. Or it could be a trap," warned Elder Moss from the Fungal Collective. His voice came through the translation system as a series of spore releases that created specific sense. "What if the Harbingers learn to mimic our communication patterns? What if they're trying to lure us into their domain?" The debate continued for hours. Some wanted to send another expedition, despite the historical disasters. Others insisted the quarantine must be maintained at all costs. A few suggested destroying the entire galaxy with long-range weapons to eliminate any threat once and for all. As the arguments grew heated, Thek studied the data Rex had provided. The energy patterns were definitely artificial, but they seemed so simple compared to the terrifying forces that had destroyed the previous expeditions. The signals looked almost primitive, like early-stage technological development rather than advanced alien intelligence. "There's something else," Rex announced, causing the chamber to fall silent. The signals aren't coming from the areas where we lost our ships. They're coming from a completely different region, around a single yellow star. And the energy signatures we're detecting, they don't match the harbinger patterns from our historical records. Dr. Nix's crystalline form brightened as she processed this information. You're suggesting that whatever is broadcasting might not be connected to the entities that destroyed our fleets? I'm suggesting we don't know enough to make any decisions, Rex replied. But I am certain that something has changed. The galaxy that has been silent for 10,000 years is suddenly active. We can continue to ignore it and hope it goes away, or we can finally learn what really happened to our ancestors. The vote was closer than anyone expected. The cautious species wanted to maintain the quarantine and increase the beacon network. The military factions pushed for immediate invasion with overwhelming force. But a small group of scientists and explorers managed to propose a compromise that barely passed by 3 votes. 1 ship. A single reconnaissance mission with full stealth capabilities and a crew of volunteers. They would approach the galaxy's edge, study the new signals, and return with information. No landing, no direct contact, no risks that might awaken whatever. Forces lived within. Vec volunteered to help select the crew, knowing that this decision would change everything. Either they would finally solve the mystery that had haunted galactic civilization for 10 millennia, or they would add another chapter to the list of expeditions that vanished into the Forbidden Zone. As the delegates prepared to leave Centaurus Prime, Vec took one last look at the holographic display. The spiral galaxy continued its slow rotation, beautiful and terrifying in equal measure. Somewhere within those swirling arms, something was broadcasting signals into the void, something that might hold the key to understanding why no species had dared enter the Milky Way for 10,000 years. The reconnaissance mission would launch in 30 days. Thek could only hope they would live to see its return. The stealth ship. Whisper of stars drifted through space like a ghost, its advanced cloaking systems bending light and energy around its hull. Inside the cramped bridge, Commander Val checked the sensor readings for the 100th time since crossing into the Forbidden Zone. Her purple skin had taken on the darker shade that indicated stress among her people. Still nothing on the threat detectors, reported Lieutenant Tom from the navigation station. His species had evolved excellent spatial awareness, making him perfect for plotting courses through dangerous territory. Whatever destroyed those ancient fleets, it's not showing up on our scanners. Dr. Kira, the mission's lead xenoarchaeologist, looked up from her analysis console. Her large eyes, adapted for studying ancient artifacts in low light, reflected the glow from her screens. That's what worries me most. The historical records describe energy signatures that should be visible from light years away. Where are the reality distortions? Where are the massive power sources? Val had been wondering the same thing. According to the Council's archives, the 3 lost expeditions had encountered forces that could tear apart space itself. Ships had been destroyed by weapons that seemed to ignore physical laws. But as they traveled deeper into the spiral galaxy, everything seemed normal. Stars burned in their expected patterns, planets orbited as they should, and space-time remained. "Stable! Contact on the communication array!" announced tech specialist Zara from her position at the rear of the bridge. Her tentacle-like fingers danced across multiple control surfaces simultaneously. "I'm picking up those organized signals again, much stronger now that we're closer to the source." The main display activated, showing a 3-dimensional map of the local star system. A yellow dwarf star sat at the center, surrounded by several planets. The 3rd planet from the star pulsed with a blue-green light, indicating an active biosphere. But more interesting were the artificial signals coming from multiple locations throughout the system. "By the void," whispered Tom. "Look at the signal density. There must be billions of individual transmissions." Dr. Kira started recording everything. "This is incredible. The variety of frequencies, the complexity of the encoding, the sheer volume of data. This isn't some ancient automated system. This is an active, thriving civilization. Val felt a chill run through her body. A civilization that lives in the Forbidden Galaxy. How is that possible? The answer came as Zara managed to decode some of the simpler transmissions. Sounds filled the bridge that none of them had ever heard before. Music with complex rhythms and harmonies, voices speaking in hundreds of different languages. Mathematical sequences that clearly showed scientific knowledge. They call themselves humans, Zara reported, her voice filled with amazement. And they call this galaxy the Milky Way. They have names for the stars, maps of the local systems, and they're actively exploring space around their home world. Dr. Kira pulled up the historical data about the Harbingers. This doesn't match anything in our records. The ancient reports described hostile entities with technology that could manipulate fundamental forces. These humans appear to be using relatively primitive chemical rockets and basic fusion drives. Maybe the Harbingers destroyed themselves, suggested Tom. Maybe these humans are survivors who rebuilt from the ruins. But as they studied the transmissions more carefully, a different picture emerged. The humans had detailed records of their own history, and none of it mentioned any contact with advanced alien civilizations. They described evolving naturally, on their planet over millions of years, developing technology through their own scientific progress and only recently achieving spaceflight. "Commander," Zara said suddenly, "I'm detecting a transmission directed at us. Everyone on the bridge froze." "That's impossible," Val said. "Our stealth systems are operating perfectly." "Not intentionally directed at us," Zara clarified. "But one of their space stations just sent a general communication toward this area of space. I think they detected some kind of energy signature from our passage. The transmission was simple but clear. A human voice speaking in one of their primary languages, translated by the ship's computer. Unknown vessel. This is Mars Research Station 7. We have detected unusual energy readings in your vicinity. Please identify yourself and state your intentions. We mean no harm and offer peaceful contact." The bridge fell silent except for the humming of life support systems. Val realized she was facing the first contact protocols, but not in the way anyone had expected. These humans were reaching out to them, not as conquerors or threats, but as curious explorers eager to meet new life. "What do we do?" asked Tom. The mission parameters were clear. No direct contact. Dr. Kira was studying her screens intently. "Commander, I'm analyzing their technology levels. These humans have developed space travel, advanced communications, and basic fusion energy. But they show no signs of the reality manipulation abilities that our ancestors feared. Their ships would be destroyed instantly by the same forces that killed the ancient expeditions. So how do they survive here?" Val wondered aloud. The answer began to emerge as they studied the human scientific data more carefully. The humans had detailed knowledge of stellar phenomena that other species had never encountered. They had names and explanations for cosmic events that the ancient expeditions had described as impossible attacks by hostile entities, black holes, neutron stars, gamma-ray bursts, gravitational waves, quantum fluctuations in space-time. The humans not only understood these phenomena, they had learned to predict them, avoid them, and even use them for navigation and energy generation. "By the ancestors," Dr. Kira whispered. "I think I understand what happened to the lost expeditions. They weren't destroyed by hostile aliens. They were destroyed by the galaxy itself." Val felt pieces of an ancient puzzle clicking into place. The Harbingers were never aliens at all. The spiral galaxy is full of natural phenomena that don't exist in the intergalactic void where our civilizations developed, Dr. Kira explained. Supernovas, pulsars, stellar collisions, gravitational anomalies. Our ancestors' ships were designed for the calm emptiness between galaxies. When they encountered the violent beauty of a galaxy's interior, their technology simply couldn't handle it. The implications hit everyone at the same time. The humans hadn't defeated the Harbingers. They had evolved alongside the cosmic forces that destroyed the ancient expeditions. To them, navigating gamma-ray bursts and gravitational waves was as natural as swimming was to an aquatic species. Should we respond to their message? Zara asked. Val looked at the peaceful blue-green planet on their display, home to a species that had mastered the very forces that terrified galactic civilization. The humans weren't the enemy they had feared for 10,000 years. They might be the key to finally understanding the universe they all lived in. Open a channel, she decided. Let's make history. Dr. Ann Thompson was reviewing atmospheric data from the Mars colonies when her communication console started beeping with an urgent priority signal. She had been working late in the research facility buried beneath the Martian surface, trying to solve problems with the new terraforming equipment. The last thing she expected was a message that would change humanity forever. "This is Mars Research Station 7, she spoke into the communication array, following standard protocols for unknown contacts. "Please identify yourself and explain how you managed to approach our system without being detected by our early warning satellites." The response came in perfect English, though with a strange accent she couldn't place. "Dr. Thompson, my name is Commander Val of the exploration vessel Whisper of Stars. We represent a coalition of species from beyond your galaxy. We need to speak with you about the history of this region of space." Anne's hands trembled as she processed what she was hearing. First contact with alien intelligence was something humanity had dreamed about for centuries, but she had never imagined it would happen during her shift monitoring mining equipment. "Commander Val, I need verification that this is not some kind of elaborate test or simulation. Can you provide evidence of your claims? We can transmit technical data about your own systems to prove we're observing you from space," Val replied. "But first, we need you to understand that we're as surprised to find you here as you are to hear from us. Your species shouldn't exist in this galaxy." The next several hours became a blur of impossible revelations. Commander Val and her team shared historical records that painted a terrifying picture of the Milky Way's past. Anne learned about the Greater Galactic Council, the 3 lost expeditions, and the 10,000-year quarantine that had kept all known alien species out of her home galaxy. "You're saying that other civilizations consider our entire galaxy too dangerous to enter?" Anne asked, struggling to process the information. "But we've been living here for thousands of years without any problems." Dr. Kira's voice joined the conversation through the translation systems. "That's exactly why we need to understand how your species survived. According to our historical records, the forces that destroyed our ancestors' ships should have made life impossible anywhere in your galaxy." Anne started sharing human scientific knowledge about their local cosmic environment. She explained about stellar evolution, galactic rotation, the supermassive black hole at the galaxy's center, and the various stellar phenomena that their astronomers studied regularly. What amazed her was how the aliens reacted to information that humans considered basic science. "You study gamma-ray bursts as a research project?" Commander Val asked, her voice filled with disbelief. "Our records describe them as reality-tearing, weapons used by the Harbingers. Gamma-ray bursts are just what happens when massive stars collapse into black holes," Anne explained. "They're dangerous if you're too close, but we can predict when and where they'll occur. Our deep space missions plan their routes around them." As the conversation continued, a stunning truth began to emerge. The Harbingers that had terrified galactic civilization for millennia were not hostile aliens or ancient weapons. They were natural stellar phenomena that humans had learned to live with because they had evolved in a galaxy full of such events. Commander Val shared recordings from the ancient expeditions, and Anne felt her heart sink as she recognized what had really happened to those lost ships. The expedition logs described encountering impossible energy bursts that could destroy matter itself near a demon star that pulsed with malevolent intelligence. "That's a magnetar," Anne realized. a neutron star with an incredibly powerful magnetic field. They emit massive bursts of X-rays and gamma radiation. Your ships probably got caught in a magnetic field surge. Dr. Kira transmitted more data about the reality distortions that had terrified the ancient explorers. Anne quickly identified them as gravitational lensing effects near black holes, tidal forces from binary star systems, and the warping of space-time around massive objects. Your ancestors weren't prepared for the natural hazards of a spiral galaxy, Anne explained. Galaxies are violent places full of exploding stars, colliding neutron stars, and hungry black holes. But if you know what to look for and understand how these things work, you can navigate around them safely. The aliens seemed amazed that humans considered such cosmic violence to be normal. Anne realized that their civilizations must have developed in the relatively calm regions between galaxies, where such phenomena were rare or non-existent. "We need to share this information with the Galactic Council," Commander Val said. "But first, we need to ask for your help. If we make this knowledge public, there will be political consequences. Some species might see your galaxy as a threat, to be eliminated. Others might want to exploit your resources." Anne understood the implications immediately. Humanity was about to be thrust into a galactic community that had existed for thousands of years without them. They would be the newcomers in a political situation they knew nothing about. "What do you suggest?" she asked. Dr. Kira had been analyzing human technology and scientific capabilities. "Your species has developed differently from ours because of your environment. You understand cosmic phenomena that we fear, but your technology has focused on surviving in hostile conditions rather than traveling between galaxies. We could offer you advanced propulsion systems and communication technologies. In return, you could teach us how to safely explore spiral galaxies throughout the universe." The offer was tempting, but Anne knew she couldn't make such decisions alone. "I need to contact Earth and inform our governments about this situation. How long before other species learn about our existence?" "We estimate you have perhaps 6 months before someone else detects your transmissions and investigates," Commander Val replied. "The galaxy quarantine is breaking down now that we've proven it's habitable. Various factions are already preparing. Expeditions." Anne felt the weight of history settling on her shoulders. She was humanity's first contact with an alien civilization that spanned multiple galaxies. The decisions made in the next few months would determine whether humans became partners in a vast galactic community or victims of species that saw them as threats to be eliminated. "Commander Val, would you be willing to establish formal diplomatic contact with our world governments? We need time to prepare for what's coming, and we need allies who understand what we're facing. That's why we're here," Val replied. "Dr. Thompson, your species may hold the key to opening up billions of worlds for exploration and colonization. But more importantly, you've shown us that the forces we've feared for 10,000 years are just part of the natural universe. You've given us the greatest gift possible: the truth." As Anne began composing the message that would inform Earth's leaders about humanity's new place in the universe, she realized that their isolation was about to end forever. The question was whether they were ready for what came next. Emergency sessions rarely took place on Centaurus Prime without months of advance planning, but the news from Commander Val's expedition had shattered every protocol in the Greater Galactic Council's handbook. Ambassador Thek found himself floating in his designated section of the crisis chamber, surrounded by representatives from dozens of species who were all talking at once in languages that the translation systems could barely keep up with. "Order! We must have order!" demanded Elder Moss from the fungal collective, releasing calming spores that helped reduce the panic in the chamber. "Fighting among ourselves won't solve the problem we're facing." War Marshal Kane activated his platform's projection system, and a holographic display showed the forbidden galaxy rotating in the center of the room. "The problem is simple," he announced in his metallic voice. "An unknown species has somehow survived in territory that destroyed 3 of our finest fleets. They must be eliminated before they can spread beyond their galaxy and threaten our worlds. A chorus of disagreement erupted from the more peaceful species. Dr. Nix's crystalline form brightened as she responded. The humans have shown no hostile intentions. Commander Val's report indicates they were surprised to learn about our existence and eager to establish peaceful contact. That could be a deception, Kane argued. Any species capable of mastering the forces that killed our ancestors must possess technology far beyond anything we understand. They could be studying us right now, preparing an invasion. Thek had been analyzing the data from the reconnaissance mission, and he found Kane's arguments difficult to support. The human technology appears to be less advanced than ours in most areas, he said. Their ships use primitive chemical propulsion. Their computers are slower than our standard systems, and they haven't even developed faster-than-light communication. Then how do they survive in the Forbidden Zone? Demanded Representative Sewell from the hive minds. Her insectoid form clicked and chittered as she spoke. Commander Val's report claims they treat gamma-ray bursts and black holes as normal parts of their environment. Such adaptation implies evolutionary pressures that should have destroyed any developing civilization. Dr. Kira's voice came through the chamber's communication system from her ship, still stationed near the edge of human space. With permission, I'd like to share some of the scientific data the humans provided. It may help explain their apparent immunity to the forces that destroyed our ancestors. The display changed to show a detailed map of stellar phenomena throughout the human galaxy. Pulsars, black holes, neutron stars, and regions of intense radiation were all marked with precision that impressed even the Council's most advanced scientists. The humans understand these cosmic forces because they evolved alongside them, Dr. Kira explained. Their scientific development focused on surviving in a hostile galactic environment. They learned to predict stellar explosions, navigate around gravitational anomalies, and shield themselves from radiation that would kill most of our species instantly. Commander Rex from the Andromedan Survey Corps studied the data with growing amazement. This is incredible. They've developed techniques for using gravity wells as navigation aids, harvesting energy from stellar winds, and predicting the behavior of unstable stars decades in advance. No wonder they survived where our ancestors failed. The revelation that the humans were navigational experts rather than possessors of impossible weapons changed the entire tone of the debate. Species that had been preparing for war began discussing the possibilities for trade and cooperation. The humans might not be a threat after all, but rather the solution to a problem that had limited galactic expansion for millennia. If the humans can safely navigate spiral galaxies, said Ambassador Flo from the Liquid Worlds, they could guide our exploration missions to billions of worlds that have been unreachable for thousands of years. The scientific and economic benefits could transform our entire civilization. But the military factions weren't ready to abandon their concerns. War Marshal Kane presented intelligence reports showing massive fleet movements throughout the outer galaxies. 17 different species have already begun preparing expeditions to the human galaxy, he announced. The Zephyrian Empire has mobilized their entire battle fleet. The Silicon Confederacy is building the largest invasion force in recorded history. Even if the humans are peaceful, others may not give them the chance to prove it. The political situation was becoming more complex by the hour. Some species saw the humans as potential allies, others as threats to be eliminated, and a few as resources to be exploited. The careful balance that had maintained peace in the galactic community for centuries was starting to crack under the pressure of this unprecedented discovery. Dr. Thompson's voice joined the discussion through the long-range communication link that Commander Val had established. Members of the Galactic Council, my name is Ann Thompson, and I'm speaking on behalf of the human governments of Earth, Mars, and the outer colonies. We've been monitoring your discussions, and we want to address your concerns directly. The chamber fell silent as they heard from the species that had lived in the Forbidden Zone for thousands of years. Dr. Thompson continued with a calmness that impressed everyone present. We understand that our existence has created political problems in your community. We don't want to be the cause of conflict between species that have lived in peace for so long. What do you propose? Asked Thek. We offer a partnership, Dr. Thompson replied. We'll share our knowledge of stellar navigation and cosmic phenomena with any species willing to approach us peacefully. In return, we ask for access to your advanced technologies and membership in your galactic community. We believe we can help you explore regions of the universe that have been closed to you for millennia. Ambassador Flo's liquid form rippled with excitement. The humans could guide us through the spiral arm clusters near the Andromeda interface. Those regions have been considered impassable since the first galactic surveys. Dr. Nix added her support. Think of what we could learn about stellar evolution, galactic formation, and the fundamental forces of the universe if we could safely study active star-forming regions. But Kane remained skeptical. And what happens when the humans develop faster-than-light travel? What happens when they can leave their galaxy and compete with us for resources throughout the universe? Dr. Thompson's response surprised everyone. War Marshal Kane, we've already developed faster-than-light communication through quantum entanglement networks. We've been listening to your transmissions for several days now. If we wanted to threaten your civilizations, don't you think we would have done something by now? The admission that humans possessed technology the Council didn't understand sent another wave of shock through the chamber. But instead of fear, many delegates felt a growing sense of opportunity. Here was a species that had developed along completely different lines, creating solutions to problems that had seemed impossible. The vote was scheduled for the following day, but the outcome was becoming clear. The humans had offered exactly what the galactic community needed: guides who could open new frontiers for exploration and expansion. The only question was whether they could establish formal relations before the military factions from various species arrived in human space with less peaceful intentions. Thek looked at the rotating galaxy in the holographic display and realized that everything was about to change. The forbidden zone that had limited galactic civilization for 10,000 years was about to become the gateway to infinite possibilities, all because one species had learned to call the cosmos home. The newly constructed diplomatic station orbited Earth like a gleaming jewel against the backdrop of stars, its multiple sections designed to accommodate the biological needs of 47 different alien species. Ambassador Laura Hayes floated in the zero-gravity conference room, watching through the massive viewing windows as shuttles from across the galaxy approached the station that humanity had helped build in just 6 months. "Final approach confirmed," announced Captain Roberts from the station's control center. His voice carried the tension that everyone felt as the most important diplomatic summit in galactic history prepared to begin. "All delegate ships are now docked. We're ready to proceed with the formal negotiations." Laura had been chosen to represent humanity because of her experience in international diplomacy. But nothing in her career had prepared her for negotiating with beings who breathed methane, existed as energy patterns, or communicated through controlled bacterial infections. The translation technology provided by their new alien allies made conversation possible, but understanding the deeper cultural and political implications required skills she was still learning. Commander Val entered the conference room, her purple skin now showing the relaxed blue shade that indicated her species felt comfortable and safe. Over the past months, she had become humanity's closest friend among the galactic community, serving as an unofficial ambassador and cultural guide. "The expansionist coalition is making their final preparations," Val reported. "War Marshal Kane has brought military advisors from 12 different species. They're going to argue that the Milky Way should be classified as unclaimed territory open to colonization." Laura felt her stomach tighten. The humans had prepared for this argument, but the legal precedents in galactic law were complex and often favored older, more established civilizations. "What about our support from the diplomatic faction?" Dr. Nix has convinced most of the scientific community that humanity's knowledge is too valuable to lose through conquest, Val replied. But the final vote will depend on how well you can present your case to the neutral species. The conference officially began with traditional greetings in dozens of different forms. Some delegates sang harmonic frequencies, others released specific chemical compounds, and a few projected geometric light patterns that carried cultural significance. Laura responded with a simple spoken welcome in English, translated simultaneously for all participants. War Marshal Kane activated his platform first, his metallic form reflecting the lights from the conference room as he began his presentation. Fellow council members, we face an unprecedented situation. A single species has claimed exclusive rights to an entire galaxy rich in resources and strategic value. Historical precedent clearly states that unclaimed territory may be settled by any recognized galactic civilization. His argument was supported by holographic displays showing the vast mineral wealth of the Milky Way, the billions of potentially habitable worlds, and the strategic value of spiral galaxy positioning for future expansion. Several delegates nodded or made gestures of agreement as Kane outlined the economic benefits of opening human space to general colonization. The humans claim they have lived in this galaxy for thousands of years, Kane continued, but their own records show they only achieved spaceflight recently and have colonized fewer than a dozen worlds. Under standard territorial law, they cannot claim sovereignty over systems they have never visited. Laura had expected this argument and had prepared her response carefully. When her turn came to speak, she activated the conference room's holographic display and showed a three-dimensional map of human space exploration over the past century. War Marshal Kane is correct that we have only recently achieved interstellar travel, she began, but our claim to this galaxy is based on something far more fundamental than colonial expansion. We evolved here. This is our natural habitat in the same way that aquatic species claim dominion over their ocean worlds. The display changed to show the unique challenges of spiral galaxy navigation, gamma-ray bursts, gravitational anomalies, stellar radiation zones, and cosmic phenomenon that had destroyed alien expeditions were highlighted as everyday environmental hazards that humans had learned to navigate safely. More importantly, Laura continued, we're not asking for exclusive rights to the galaxy. We're offering to share it with any species willing to work with us as partners rather than conquerors. Dr. Nix's crystalline form brightened as she activated her platform. The humans have already demonstrated their willingness to share knowledge freely. In the past 6 months, they've provided navigation data that has allowed our survey ships to safely explore regions that were previously considered impassable. 3 new worlds suitable for crystalline colonization have already been identified, in sectors we could never have reached alone. Ambassador Flo from the Liquid Worlds added her support. The human navigation techniques have opened up 17 star systems with oceanic worlds perfect for our expansion. Rather than competing with them for territory, we've found that cooperation multiplies the opportunities for everyone. The debate continued for hours as different factions presented their arguments. The military species focused on the strategic value of controlling spiral galaxy resources. The commercial factions calculated the economic benefits of unrestricted access to billions of new worlds. The scientific community emphasized the research opportunities that human knowledge had already opened, but the turning point came when Captain Alex Turner joined the conference via quantum communication link from the joint human-alien expedition that was already exploring the nearby Whirlpool Galaxy. His ship, the Stellar Pioneer, had been built using both human navigation expertise and alien propulsion technology. Council members, Alex reported from 30 million light-years away, I'm speaking to you from a spiral galaxy that has never been explored by any species in our records. Using human navigation techniques combined with Andromedan drive systems, we've safely mapped over 200 star systems in the past month. We've identified 43 worlds suitable for various species' colonization needs and made first contact with 2 primitive civilizations that seem friendly to peaceful cooperation. The implications hit the conference like a shockwave. The humans weren't just offering to share their own galaxy. They were offering to guide exploration missions to spiral galaxies throughout the universe, opening up billions of worlds that had been unreachable for thousands of years. War Marshal Kane made one final attempt to maintain his position. This proves that human knowledge is too valuable to remain in the hands of a single species. The navigation techniques should be shared freely with all galactic civilizations. Laura smiled as she responded. That's exactly what we're proposing, Marshal Kane. Full membership in the Greater Galactic Council, unrestricted sharing of scientific knowledge, and joint exploration missions to map the spiral galaxies throughout the local universe group. All we ask in return is recognition of our sovereignty within our home galaxy and the right to participate as equal partners in the galactic community. The final vote wasn't even close. 38 species voted in favor of full human membership in the Council, with only 6 military factions opposing and 3 abstentions. Dr. Thompson was officially appointed as humanity's first galactic ambassador, with Laura Hayes serving as the primary diplomatic representative. As the conference concluded, Laura found herself signing treaties that would reshape the political structure of the known universe. Humanity gained access to advanced technologies that would accelerate their development by centuries. Anti-gravity systems, faster-than-light travel, medical advances, and energy production methods that seemed like magic became available to human scientists and engineers. In return, human navigation academies were established on 12 different worlds, where alien students learned to read stellar phenomena the way humans read weather patterns. The techniques that had allowed humanity to survive in the cosmic chaos of their home galaxy became the foundation for a new age of galactic exploration. Commander Val approached Laura as the delegates prepared to return to their respective worlds. "You've changed everything," she said with obvious admiration. "The galaxy quarantine that limited our civilization for 10,000 years is over. Spiral galaxies throughout the universe are now open for exploration." Laura looked out the viewing window at Earth, where the lights of cities twinkled on the night side of the planet. 6 months ago, humanity had been alone in the universe, struggling to establish colonies on Mars and wondering if they would ever find proof of alien life. Now they were partners in a galactic community that spanned billions of worlds. "It's just the beginning," Laura replied. "Captain Alex's expedition has already identified 3 more spiral galaxies within range of our joint exploration fleets. Each one contains billions of stars and potentially millions of habitable worlds." The transformation was happening faster than anyone had imagined possible. Human-designed navigation systems were being installed on exploration vessels throughout the galactic fleet. Mixed crews of humans and aliens were training together for missions to regions of space that had been forbidden territory for millennia. But perhaps the most important change was philosophical. For thousands of years, the galactic civilizations had developed in the calm emptiness between galaxies, viewing the violent stellar phenomena of spiral galaxies as threats to be avoided. Humanity had grown up surrounded by such forces and learned to see them as natural parts of the cosmic environment. "Your species has taught us something profound," Dr. Nix transmitted from her crystalline homeworld. "We spent so long fearing the unknown that we forgot how to explore it. Humans never lost that courage to venture into dangerous territory and make it home." The celebration continued for days as news of the successful negotiations spread throughout the galactic community. But Laura knew the real work was just beginning. Trade agreements needed to be negotiated, cultural exchange programs established, and joint colonies planned for the new worlds being discovered daily. Most importantly, humanity needed to prepare for their new role as cosmic guides. Every species in the galactic community was eager to explore spiral galaxies that had been closed to them for millennia. human navigation expertise would be in constant demand as exploration fleets ventured into regions of space filled with the stellar phenomena that had once terrified their ancestors. A year later, Laura stood on the bridge of the exploration vessel New Horizon as it approached the edge of the Andromeda Galaxy. The crew included representatives from 23 different species, all working together to map stellar hazards and identify suitable worlds for colonization. Gamma-ray burst detected in Sector 7, reported Navigator Kim, one of humanity's most experienced cosmic pilots. Redirecting course to avoid the radiation zone. We should be clear in 6 hours. The alien crew members watched with fascination as Kim adjusted their route around the deadly stellar explosion with the casual expertise of someone avoiding a traffic accident. What would have destroyed their ancestors' ships was now just another navigation hazard to be noted and avoided. Beginning survey of the target system, announced Dr. Walsh from the science station. Initial scans show 14 planets, 4 of which appear to be in the habitable zone. Atmospheric analysis indicates 2 worlds suitable for oxygen-breathing species and 1 with a methane atmosphere perfect for the Titan Collective. As the New Horizon began its detailed survey of the system, Laura reflected on how much had changed since Commander Val's reconnaissance mission first detected human radio transmissions. The species that had been feared as potential harbingers had become the guides who opened infinite new frontiers for exploration. The galaxy that no species had dared enter for 10,000 years was now the launching point for expeditions to spiral galaxies throughout the universe. Humanity had not just joined the galactic community, they had transformed it by teaching other species that the cosmic forces they feared were simply part of the natural universe, waiting to be understood and navigated. The stars that had once seemed like barriers now beckoned as pathways to infinite possibilities, all because one species had evolved in the heart of cosmic chaos and learned to call it home.